Greetings, my good bitches. The name's Francis, Coke Francis. I'm an editor, Twitch streamer, drag artist, and I'm here because if you tell a lie enough, it seems to eventually come true. And even though the entire right-wing culture war was revealed and proven to be a complete psyop, we're still out here doing this shit. I mean, we always knew that their outrage was manufactured. We just didn't know who manufactured it until fairly recently. But unfortunately, there are still millions of people out there like this. And as long as they're around, I'll still have a career. Which brings us to the Turning Point USA Alternative Halftime Show, which was just... Did somebody say Turning Point USA Alternative Halftime Show? Hey, Cokelander, you're here again. Are you really gonna make a video about this and not include me? I have made plenty of videos like this without you, and the channel has been perfectly fine. Bitch, you're really gonna make a video about this when you're dressed like that? I wear this shirt all the time. My Discord got it for me. It's one of my favorite shirts, and I just— You need me. Your people need me. This whole event is ripped directly from my universe. Everyone said my writers were too on the nose, but then when it happens in real life, you people all— Okay, you know what, Cokelander? Fine. Fine. I'm not gonna argue with you, okay? Just do the show however you want. I don't care anymore. Oh my god, sorry I'm late. The traffic was terrible, let me tell you. Alright. Where were we? Ah yes, back to my show. The Superb Owl took place a short time ago. It's a national pastime that's as all-American as apple pie, baseball, and beating up Jake Lang. Over and over and over again. And almost as American as me because, let's face it guys, contrary to popular belief these days, there is nothing more American than a bisexual, non-binary, Jewish, mixed-race, ADHD drag queen who can dress as Homelander. Because this is America, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. Pam Bondi, Caroline Leavitt, Christy Nome. I know for a fact that you're all wearing wigs because your hair is actually falling out in clumps like Ashley's because you have the worst jobs in the world. But I'm still not as American as all the countries in North and South America because the United States really needs to stop cosplaying as two continents. I am already sweating. Girl, I just started. In addition to the Seahawks absolutely dick-slapping the Patriots with a 29-13 score, the main event on everybody's minds is Bad Bunny's absolutely breathtaking halftime show performance, and the first halftime show that was almost entirely in Spanish. It began as both a beautiful tribute to Puerto Rican culture and a commentary on how the United States has exploited it, because, in case y'all didn't know, or just forgot, Puerto Rico is a United States territory. It then shifted into a celebration of all cultures across all the Americas, complete with an actual wedding officiated on the field that revealed the Queen herself, followed by Latino Ben Starr, and featuring cameos from Pedro Pascal, Cardi B, and Jessica Alba. Jesus f***ing yellow penguins. This was the only halftime show that could compete with the incredible night of Black History Month excellence from last year's show, in an era where the United States government is deporting and killing its own citizens simply for the crime of being brown or even just trying to protect those who are. I didn't understand a goddamn word of it because my Spanish is terrible, sorry mom, and it still moved me to tears. It's almost as if real art and humanity transcends language or something. In other words, we are so back, and as predictably as ever, the people who are the most furious about this beautiful display of culture are always the ones most bitter about having zero culture themselves. If only there could be a halftime show for anyone who's complained about having to press 1 for English. A show for divorced dads who are too lazy to be abusive stepfathers. A show for your racist uncle who tweets compliments to OnlyFans models. A show celebrating American culture, freedom, and faith for everyone too stupid to recognize Puerto Rico as a U.S. territory. Brought to you by the people still bitter that they can't have their own drinking fountains, it's a halftime show with the signature taste of craft singles and Coors Light. It's none other than the Turning Point USA All-American Alternative Halftime Show. And because I'm the real hero, I watched it so that you all don't have to. Now, I only use reliable sources to make my videos, and this one is no different. I used a mix of left-leaning sites, mostly nonpartisan sources, and the massive amount of coping from the right after this event with the help of today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that gathers related articles from all around the world in one place, so that you can compare how different outlets cover the same story. It provides context about the source of the information, if they have a political bias, how reliable their reporting practices are, and who owns them, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. Frequently, I will come across a headline that makes me raise an eyebrow, which in turn sometimes makes the glue underneath my makeup crack a bit, so naturally, I'm gonna need some context. Like when I read the Fox News headline, Turning Point USA's patriotic Super Bowl alternative earns praise as millions tune in over Bad Bunny. So I immediately checked my Ground News app to see just how successful the show really was, especially since the Puppy Bowl had allegedly received twice as many viewers. Sure enough, over 130 sources had covered this story, and I was presented with the left-leaning headline, Kid Rock delivers half-assed lip sync at TPUSA anti-halftime show. But Ground News' fact-checking had reported these articles as mixed factuality, and I needed a more reliable source. And thankfully, snuggled right between these headlines was an article from the Center with very high factuality. Turning Point airs All-American Halftime Show in attempt to compete with official Super Bowl performance. Objective reporting on an objectively cringy event. True American freedom from fake news. Ground News is also fully independent and subscriber funded, and if you're the type of person who questions narratives rather than consuming them, you can use my special link, groundnews.com/CokeFrancis for 40% off their unlimited access Vantage plan. It's the same one I use. You can also scan the QR code right next to my very handsome face, or just click the link in the description. And with that, back to our regularly scheduled programming. This was off-center. Why was this off-center? And, really quick, before we get into it, as a reminder, I am a drag soup who does insult comedy. If that's not your thing, and it's totally fine if it isn't, you might want to watch something else. People's appearances will be made fun of here, because they are people deserving of mockery. Maybe you happen to share a physical trait with one of these fascists, but this is not about you. As Werewolf Bar Mitzvah had perfectly stated the other day, fascists do not get woke protections from mean words, okay? But Francis, they won't see it, but your viewers will. Well, not with that attitude. Spread my videos wherever you like. Make sure they do see it. Every insult I make about them is something I would say directly to their ugly faces with zero hesitation. But Francis, it's still not okay to insult someone's appearances. Sure it is. Watch me. Again, this is not about you, because I know for a goddamn fact that you are all beautiful inside and out, and I mean that. Take comfort in knowing that. Oh no. So Bad Bunny's halftime show set a new record with peak viewership at 137.8 million and an average viewership of 128.2 million, landing just a bit behind Usher, Michael Jackson, and Kendrick's call-out heard round the world. Bad Bunny's performance was so successful, in fact, that not only are Republicans clutching their pearls and pretending to hate it, they're demanding an investigation into it. Because if there's one investigation here in the United States that we need to be paying attention to, it's Bad Bunny's halftime show. Definitely just that. definitely nothing else. How could all these gorgeous Latina women be allowed to shake their asses when these guys' wives would never do it for them? The leading wet blanket in this investigation is Andy Ogles, whose name is a sentence, and he was one of the key speakers at the New York Young Republicans Gala. Check out my video on that gem for more hot, steamy content, like watching a neo-Nazi get bitch slapped. The Apple Music Super Bowl LX halftime show was pure smut, brazenly aired on national television for every American family to witness. Children were forced to endure explicit displays of gay sexual acts, women gyrating provocatively, and Bad Bunny shamelessly grabbing his crotch while dry humping the air. What's next, Andy? Elvis's swinging hips? Your old. Then we have Mark Alford, who looks like the asshole principal in every 80s high school movie. The Bad Bunny bad performance at the Super Bowl, we're still investigating this. There's a lot of information that has come out about the lyrics. I saw the halftime show, switching back and forth with the TPUSA halftime show. Sure you did, Diva. The lyrics from what we've seen from Bad Bunny are very disturbing. I mean, so are all of those files about the trafficking, murder, rape, kidnapping, torture, and sometimes cannibalism of real children. But that's not important right now. There are big booty Latinas afoot. And of course, we can't forget the president's decision to chime in at his peak sundowning hours.
The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever, it makes no sense, is an affront to the greatness of America, doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all of the world.
Because it wouldn't be a true presidential statement from him unless young children are involved. But thankfully, Turning Point USA was way ahead of the game. See, they needed to build up their safe space defenses ever since Kendrick called out a pedophile and Serena Williams sea-walked across their precious football field. And all the way back in October, their very own All-American halftime show was announced by Andrew Colvett, who looks like that fake profile picture that a Nigerian prince will use to steal your mom's 401k. The All-American halftime show is an opportunity for all Americans to enjoy a halftime show with no agenda other than to celebrate faith, family, and freedom. We set out to provide an entertainment option that will be fun, excellent, and exciting for the entire family while millions are gathered together for the big game. Hi Erica, I'm your event planner for the TPUSA Alternative Halftime Show. How are you doing? I've been fine. Good to hear, good to hear. I hope you've been, holding up okay. Oh, yeah, merch sales have been through the roof. Yeah, I bet. Okay, so, what are we thinking, location-wise? Concert halls, theaters, reasonably sized stadiums. Do we have any, leads on venues yet? Oh, yes, we actually just booked a soundstage. It holds about 200 people. Okay, well, if it works, right? Well, I gotta look at your artist lineup. Pretty solid overall, and let me tell you, the divorce crowd is gonna go wild for this one, am I right? I just had a couple of questions. Nothing too major. But I noticed, Kid Rock was gonna be headlining. What was your thought process on that? What do you mean by that? Well, I just had a couple concerns. You know, you said the show is to celebrate faith, family, and freedom. You're clearly a smart woman, Miss Kirk. Don't you think Mr. Rock's values might clash with the, family aspect of it? What are you talking about? He's a true American patriot. He's been performing for Lord God President Trump for years. Right, and that's great. Really it is. But I wanted to just bring something to your attention here. Not sure if you heard about this, but back in 2001, Mr. Rock wrote and performed a song called Cool Daddy Cool. Reminds me of when I was a little rebel way back when, right? But at one point in the song, the lyrics read, and I quote, young ladies, I like 'em underage. See, some say that's statutory, but I say that's mandatory. I don't see how that's relevant. Oh, well, Apologies, I just wasn't sure how that would affect the family part of your marketing. Just double check it, you know. That same year, Mr. Rock was a guest on SNL. I know, a bunch of dirtbag libs from New York City, if you ask me. But you might want to take a look at this clip that the internet has found.
The Olsen twins. Why is every guy in America waiting for these chicks to turn 18? I mean, you know what I say? If there's grass on the field, play ball!
It was a joke. Hello? Saturday Night Live? Comedy? Isn't that what they do there? I guess I, won't argue with you on this one. Now, Miss Kirk, Turning Point is bigger than ever. You've got millions of followers on social media, so I imagine this is going to be a ticketed event? Well, not exactly. We haven't really had a whole lot of time to produce a ticketed event. You know, I've been super busy touring and running this company, you know, so we're thinking of hiring about 200 extras as audience members. Interesting. Not the route I personally would have taken, but, hey, works in a pinch, right? In that case, have you put out a casting call yet? Oh, our production team took care of that already. They put out an ad on Craigslist. Craigslist? How, retro. Okay, so in return for showing up, these extras are going to get $200 in a Kid Rock concert shirt. Okay, I think we're done here. And with that, Turning Point USA was poised to have the biggest, baddest, Americanist, alternativist, halftimeist show ever. First and foremost, there was an option to pay to watch it on Daily Wire Plus or One American News or any other platform that you give $20 to a month that you will never get back. But luckily for us poors, the show was also authorized to air on Rumble and YouTube. They had also planned a Twitter stream that was canceled a mere 2 hours before the show began due to licensing issues. Oh my god, you guys are so bad at this! Alright, it's showtime! So I had actually screen recorded the entire event in the off chance that they try and remove any mention of this from internet history, but luckily the whole show is still up on youtube.com, including the 35 minutes of bullshit leading up to it. And by bullshit, I mean a starting screen with their graphic design as my passion ass promo flyer. So the first commercial break is surprise, surprise! A little self-glazing recruitment ad for TPUSA and how they're changing the world by debating children who aren't even studying politics. Do you think the little lightning bolt on their American comeback shirts was intentional? Something tells me it's not a reference to their electrifying public speeches. Then we're treated to another promo. This time we've got rainbow flags, drag queens, face masks, college students, and anything else that the I won't live in fear crowd is deathly afraid of. Weird that they got a British guy to narrate an America First promo, but I guess they needed somebody who could actually read ad copy. Make heaven crowded again? You guys are gonna look me in the eye and tell me to not bully these people? Next is an ad for TPUSA Rise, because again, they're bitter that they can't have their own bathrooms and drinking fountains, so they instead have segregated divisions in their own stupid club, complete with a graffiti font in the title, cause that's what they like, right? And graffiti on a brick wall at the end. Hip, cool, hood. That's surely what black people like. What's poppin', twins? Between black people integrating and women being allowed to drive and vote, thank God TPUSA is taking a stand to put these groups back in their places. Because now we're treated to a little something for the ladies. This subset is called Curated for Her, because again, only 2 genders. And this lady with, actually kind of stunning nails, okay, slay bitch, has a little mood mood board, because that's what women like, right? They like scrapbooking and manifesting and sentimental items like this printed out picture of Erica Kirk here. I wonder what actually happens at a TPUSA Women's Leadership Summit. Comment down below what you think goes down there. I'd like to think they throw their babies into bonfires and howl at the moon. Do I look like I know what Republican women are up to? Then we have a promo for America Fest 2026, which is an event straight out in my universe. Oh wait, this is the one with Nikki, right? This is the one where Ben Shapiro edges himself with the truth about right-wing bigotry, and then he talked a bunch of shit about Tucker Carlson, and then Tucker Carlson took the stage and talked even more shit. Either way, apparently they're doing it again this year. Maybe I'll cover it if it isn't so goddamn boring again. So it's been 20 minutes, and there's still no sign of the show, and more importantly, no sign of Kid Rock anywhere. Then, of course, we get a little montage of Small-Face McGee being small-faced, including the debate where he said that he wouldn't allow his 10-year-old daughter to get an abortion if she were raped. All the greatest hits. Then we have an adopt, don't abort ad. Oh my god, who gives a shit? Where is Kid Rock? This is the first time in my entire life where I demanded to know where Kid Rock was. 25 minutes in, are we gonna—
From the War Department, we salute Turning Point USA.
Oh, not you. We just had to get Pete Keg's breath to say something, didn't we? The Department of War guy whose own kids can't stand him? I'm a and I can do more pull-ups than this dork. Okay. Says it's starting soon. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What do you mean events starting soon? You've said that for the past 27 minutes.
Full offense. Can you people do anything? So the show finally starts, and we get a little intro from Jack Posobiec, who dedicates the show to Charlie.
How original.
And then we get a humble little shot of a firework behind him. I guess Erica used up their entire budget for that. Then we've got a guy playing an electric guitar cover of our national anthem, which might have actually gone kinda hard if the whole thing surrounding it wasn't so goddamn cringe. There's one more single firework shot, and then Brantley— oh my god, his name is Brantley. Country singer Brantley Gilbert comes out to perform songs called Real American and Dirt Road Anthem. Oh brother. The latter is a rap song, but don't you worry your precious little heads, pearl clutchers. It's fine when he does it, because he's not one of those scary street hooligans with their hippity-hoppity records and such. You know for a fact that they had wanted to book Jelly Roll, but did not have the clout to do so. But that's okay, because Brantley is a proud veteran of the Bud Light culture wars of old 2023, where he smashed a can of Bud Light and said, yeah, that, apparently. God, the worst part of that whole ordeal by far was having to support Bud Light sales. Anyway, next up in this star-studded country variety show is Gabby Barrett. Apparently, she was an American Idol finalist and is a pretty good singer. These slow-mo shots feel kind of out of place with this nice pantsuit. Why is there so much in this show? Wait, hold up.
Hold up.
Is this bitch barefoot?
Right here. Okay, go. Dogs, man on that. Enhance. Those are toes. All right, now clip this. We go forward just a little bit. Than this. All right, so it goes dark right here. Does she still have dogs? No, she has shoes on. All right, pause. Those are no longer toes. Are you getting this, Jacob? Yes. Those are no longer toes, those are shoes.
Some script supervisor got fired that day. So, I kept watching the TPUSA Alternative Halftime Show, and I kept thinking about how reality has become a parody of itself, and I kept wondering when Kid Rock was gonna come on. And then I suddenly had the realization, I should have been there! Are you kidding? Are you out of your mind, Turning Point? You're gonna have an event like this and not invite me? I am a living, breathing parody of all that you do, and you have the audacity audacity to not even send me a link to your little Craigslist ad? Well, it was too late to fly there, and I actually really had to poop at this point, so I decided to put the TP in TPUSA and join in the conversation in the only way I possibly could in that moment. Next up is also not Kid Rock, it's Lee Brice, who looks like that one uncle who wears his female body inspector t-shirt to family barbecues.
I just wanna catch my fish.
Huh?
Catch my fish.
So kissing fish is fine, but two dudes kissing is just a bridge too far.
Drive my truck, drink my beer.
It's giving Bo Burnham's country song.
I just wanna cut my grass.
Okay, who's stopping you?
Be told if I tell my own daughter that little boys ain't little girls.
There it is, the obligatory trans derangement syndrome, responded to with canned cheers from any Guitar Hero game. Can I just say really quick, they really did nail the production here. Plenty of shadows and close-ups on the performers to hide the fact that I had more extras on my senior thesis film. But it's now the moment we've all been waiting for. The man, the myth, the pedophile. My parents told me the truth about Kid Rock when I was a lad, that he wasn't actually real. I mean, how could one guy perform at every MAGA event at the same time? Well, it turns out that this duckin' poser from Michigan doesn't actually have a whole lot going on right now, and he does, in fact, have the ability to perform at any MAGA event that he's summoned at. Every time! So then he's introduced by this crew. There are lights, lasers everywhere. No firework shots just yet. I hope they didn't dry out their budget on that. And then he appears. Skid Rock. Somebody on Twitter already came up with Hillbilly Vanilli, and I'm kicking myself for not thinking of that first, so I'm gonna have to come up with something else. But a few things here were a bit off. For the youngins who might be seeing this queen for the first time, Kid Rock's drag can be pretty wild, especially this little getup he wore just for the Oval Office. Now, not all of his outfits are this flamboyant, but he's definitely had a kind of rock jock aesthetic for the past few decades. Also, when you Google Kid Rock best outfits, half of the search results are literal children in like leather jackets and sunglasses. But tonight she's giving,
How do you do, fellow kids?
you're 55 years old and you're wearing jean shorts and white Reeboks? Really? This big fluffy vest is already gone by the time the song starts. Maybe because of the potential fire hazard? Or they just didn't have an AC budget? Anyway, he then launches into his hit single from all the way back when I was 4 years old. But hey, they're called the classics for a reason, right? Plus, after performing one song for 27 years, Kid's gotta have it down to an art, right? It must be second nature at this point, right?
Drag queen's #1 job is to lip sync and to know the words.
So what was all that about not understanding a word the guy is saying? I can excuse a post-stroke David Lee Roth, but I draw the line at Spanish. He must have known damn good and well he blew it because he is on that stage for, and I Kid Rock you not, 1 minute and 23 seconds. Before we move on to the rest of the show, I gotta give a shout out to my favorite review of it that I've seen so far, from the magazine that once had an interview with Christina Hendricks where she told me exactly how to be a man and my 14-year-old ass was just furiously taking notes. To Kid Rock's credit, he's had 20 odd years of putting on a show and his presence was a big jolt of energy for a show that would constitute a forgettable night on CMT, let alone right-wing America's answer to Bad Bunny. Even while Kid Rock failed to match lips to lyrics, it's admittedly impressive to watch him do cardio 5 years short of 60. A lot of it it might have to do with the fact that Babadaba kinda slaps in a I miss being in the second grade and channel surfing to MTV way. So Kid leaves the stage after just 83 seconds, and then we're treated to what is, in my opinion, an even more offensive lip sync because I'm a classically trained musician. But it's not the musician's fault. Remember, this is a pre-recorded show. We confirmed it just a little while ago with Barefoot McGee. It's because they have an entirely inept post-production team, hence the continuity errors and the inability to match sound with movements. So not only does this offend me as a musician, but as an editor. Anyway, that group of guys that you instinctively cover your drink around at the club comes back, and they introduce somebody named Robert Richie. Who the f*** is Robert Richie? Where is Kid Rock? Bring back Kid Rock. Okay, turns out Robert Richie is Kid Rock's real name. I didn't know. I actually have a good relationship with my parents. But what's bothering me here the most isn't this song, which actually isn't his, it's a cover of a Cody Johnson song. It's not him cosplaying as a mechanic despite never having a working class job in his life, or even that he looks like David Spade if you left him under those 7-Eleven roller grills. It's the fact that I could have been dead naming Kid Rock this entire time. His name is Robert Richie, and he grew up in a mansion in Michigan surrounded by a barnyard and apple orchards because his daddy owned multiple car dealerships. Anyone who complains about Pride Month must identify with the name they were assigned at birth. Anyway, the show ends with a truly Kirkian tribute, with lots of pictures of him and Erica to reassure everybody that they did, in fact, maybe kinda sorta like each other sometimes. And, as you can see, Miss Kirk was noticeably absent from the TPUSA All-American Alternative Halftime Show. Alright, so what's the damage? Knowing damn well it was bullshit, Andy Colvett went on to Fox to brag about the 3 million views on Rumble and the 6 million views on YouTube, somehow rounding that up to a total of 20 million people. Math is hard. That doesn't exactly line up with the 16K viewers that I saw myself, but let's break this down even further, like my will to live. If you've ever watched one of Hassan Piker's streams, you've seen how impossibly crowded and unrelenting the chats are. And that's because he averages about 30,000 viewers per stream. That is an exceptionally high number of concurrent viewers. But it's still only 0.5% of 6 million. Or 5%? I wasn't kidding. Math is actually really hard. Now, not every viewer joins the chat, but just imagine what the chat would look like with 6 million people in it. You certainly wouldn't be able to read almost every single message watching at normal speed, and you definitely wouldn't have any lulls like the ones that I witnessed with my own 2 goddamn eyes.
Yo, is the chat frozen? I don't get it. Live chat, it's not loading it. Hello?
And the chat wouldn't be slow enough to be able to see that almost every username had at least 4 digits at the end of it, if you catch my drift. See, if the TPUSA halftime show had actually been a success, we would not be seeing the massive amounts of coping from it. Breaking. The left is furious after a new poll reveals a supermajority of people says Kid Rock had a better halftime show than Bad Bunny. 67% to 33%. That's according to TMZ's own poll. Brutal flop. You messed up, NFL. Huge win for Americans. Whatever you do today, do not share this video showing the difference between the 2 halftime shows. We wouldn't want to make ourselves look any better than we already do. I had to visit this person's page to see just which side they were referring to. Watching the American halftime performance at the Super Bowl instead of Bad Bunny. So first you waste thousands on Botox, and then you waste thousands on a 13-second clip where everybody tells you how embarrassing you are. Pure cope to claim that TPUSA's halftime numbers numbers are fake. There are no indications of bots. Comments, like, view ratios all look how they should. No evidence at all that it was anything but a genuinely huge success. People claiming it's bots have no evidence other than the fact that they would personally prefer it to have been bots. Total nonsense. If that was written by anybody else, I would assume it was a parody of how hard they are coping.
The Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show became the #1 YouTube live stream in America.
Now there's a box of greasy.
The #2 overall YouTube live stream in all of history throughout the entire world. And this is a moment where patriots around the world came together and said, we want no more. This is about the forgotten man and woman.
But this still isn't the cringiest fallout from what Twitter has officially dubbed Clanchella. Now, youngins watching this, you may or may not have heard about the cringiest lip sync scandals in television history. Artists lip syncing is nothing new. Not that it's a good thing to do, but it's pretty common actually. It's when you're exposed for it that it becomes an absolute media circus and sometimes a career-ending one. The most famous example is probably the Milli Vanilli lip sync scandal. My favorite part of the Family Guy skit about Ashley Simpson's scandal is how the little jig she does is literally not an exaggeration. Homegirl just did that. But what made it pretty heinous, at least in my opinion, is how she threw her entire band under the bus afterwards. So now that Robert Richie was just exposed for lip syncing repeatedly throughout that minute and 23 seconds, undeniably so, to even where his own fans called him out for it. How is he gonna handle it? Will it be with the class and grace of someone who admitted they wanted to bang the Olsen twins when they were in the 8th grade? Will it be nothing but excuses? Will he throw anyone under the bus? My dear, sweet, goodest bitches, what you're about to see is possibly even more painful than the show itself, but not to worry, I will watch it with you.
So the Turning Point event, so they sent me a first cut, we taped it, and then they sent me a first cut. And my comment was, the sync is off. They were trying to line up. First off, if we would have done it, if we would have recorded it and then played like we were singing it, lip synced it, it would have been pie. It would have been pie to line up. It was very difficult for them because somebody clearly wasn't super familiar with the song. Also, when I asked them, I go, Freddie raps that song with me, my DJ. And they're like, he does what? And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, yeah, do we have any cutaways of Freddie? And they didn't. No. So they don't have that footage. Now it's extremely difficult for them to line up the sync. Could have been done if we had more time. I'm confident they could have got it right. I only got to see one edit. Because when we're rapping it, that song takes so much energy. You've seen me, people have seen me do. I'm flipping mics. I'm jumping around like a rabid monkey on stage, still trying to at 55 years old. And so me and Freddie are like this. I'm like, and this is for the questions that don't have any
answers.
The midnight glances and the topless
dancers.
Now get in the pit and try to love someone. Boom. So he's filling in those words for me so I can, boom, bang my head, keep going and carrying on. But the production team that they work with on this and other events they've done, top notch, first class all the way. Nobody's perfect, gets it right every time. But for the haters and the trolls out there, that's exactly what happened. If you have any inclination, some of you that are in the entertainment world, you could look at that and be like, oh, the sync's off. But no, they had to lie and say, oh, he was lip syncing. And then the problem is people amplify this all over the internet, and this goes on both sides. They did it to Bad Bunny in his defense when they were saying he said you have 4 months to learn Spanish. He was on Saturday Night Live. I think he was joking.
Why is every guy in America waiting for these chicks to turn 18?
But they do it far too often, especially in the fake news media, the left-wingers, crazy libtards. If you really want to see it live, our Freedom 250 tour.
What's that, Lassie? More cope from Trailer Trashly Simpson's performance, you say? This is why they're upset. Tens of millions chose family, faith, and freedom over degeneracy and wokeness. Those of us who watched it live could tell you were really singing, and your vocals were spectacular. Hope he sees this, bro. You don't even need to explain it to these haters. This was objectively beautiful. I was incredibly skeptical about the TPUSA Halftime Show, but I have to say, they crushed it. Over 5 million people streaming it just just on YouTube. Excellent artists, insanely good vocals, and amazing talent. 10 out of 10. But in all honesty, you know what bothered me the most about the TPUSA Alternative Halftime Show? How toothless it was. Feckless. Boring. See, kind of like the All Lives Matter movement, there were no real morals or convictions that went into this, because they don't actually have any. It was simply a knee-jerk response to the very idea of a halftime show being performed in Spanish. The Alternative Halftime Show wasn't organized with the intent of creating an entertaining event that actually meant something to them. It's just a contrarian temper tantrum over the fact that white people are not the center of attention 1000% of the time. The result was the most inoffensive, safe, and milquetoast variety show imaginable. Brought to you by the Fuck Your Feelings crowd. They know damn well their grift is failing because they no longer have any cultural relevance or influence. They had it during the Biden years and the first half of 2025. Their entire movement is keeping people as divided as possible. But people can only stay divided for so long. And at this point in time, the people are exhausted by this mindset. If they were actually winning at anything, if they were actually owning the libs or whatever, do you think they'd be filming on a soundstage in Atlanta? Do you think they'd have to pay 200 extras to pretend to enjoy the show? Do you think that their production staff would be so utterly incompetent that they put absolutely zero effort into the final product? Do you think that they would have to bot all their views and then go brag about it on Fox News like that kid in your class who scraped his knee and then he told everybody it was from a snowboarding accident? Like, the amount of delusion and denial to be like, well, fine, we're just gonna make our own halftime show, it'll be super awesome and cool and everybody's gonna watch it instead of the largest sporting event in the US, is pathetic enough. But to do it purely because Spanish makes your earsies cry? Incredible stuff here, folks. I will leave you all with the final paragraph of my favorite review of the event, because once again, it sums up all of my feelings better than I ever possibly could. Through sheer showmanship and immaculate direction, Bad Bunny invited millions of strangers to feel like family in a communal space, including a real, honest-to-goodness wedding in the middle of all of it. By contrast, Turning Point USA put on a show that felt hostile as it did hollow. Which vision of America is American? Who gets to say what's American and what's not? It says plenty that only one of the two shows ended with an egalitarian statement. Together, we are America. Guess which one did? Oh my god, she's finally gone. Do I even want to know what happened while I was away? Whatever. Here are some winning comments from the last video. Purple Pale says, yeah, I'll be conservative in games, conserving the amount of times I bang Arcade Ganon. Nathan U 1899 says, so sad to see Queen Cook Francis lost an eye in the culture wars. Shinny News in 7412 says, my favorite conservative game is sticking my head in the sand. You too could be featured in the next video. Leave a comment below. I will pick my favorite ones and give you a shout out next time. But if you'd like to guarantee your name be featured at the end of every video, please consider joining my Patreon. If you join any of the membership tiers that are conveniently named after Fallout protagonists, your name will be mentioned at the end of every video. You might also get other cool stuff like access to my Discord, behind the scenes content on how I make my wigs, ad-free and uncensored versions of my videos. So if you love my content and my drag, you can support this channel directly by clicking the link to my Patreon in the description box. I also have a very exciting announcement for my good bitches. After tons of requests from you all, and because I'm a queen of the people, I have officially launched my second channel, Queen Coke Francis Live. If you've ever wanted to watch me simp for my favorite game characters and get visibly frustrated, but couldn't watch me do it in real time because you have better shit to do on the weekends, I will be posting VODs of my favorite streams there weekly. I've been planning this for a very long time, and I'm so happy that I'm finally able to do it with the help of my amazing co-producer producer Mitchell, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys' support. You guys are the ones who helped my channel grow to where it is now, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, hopefully in a good direction. First and foremost, by popular demand, I will be posting all of my Date Everything playthroughs, and you can go there right now and watch parts 1 and 2. Tragically, I couldn't use my inaugural Date Everything stream because it had corrupted audio, so if you're interested or you're just curious to see how much of an idiot I really am unscripted, channel name is Queen Coke Francis Live, link is in the description, and you can watch parts 1 and 2 of my first Date Everything stream right meow. But if you do want to see all that good stuff happen in real time, please follow me on Twitch, and if you'd like to see even more of my clown mug elsewhere, please consider following me on Instagram or Blue Sky. My handle for all of the above is at Queen Coke Francis. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so already, please organize the very first halftime show where you don't have to press 1 for English, but when all your artists inevitably bail, put on your best Kid Rock impression by going ahead and unzipping your pants and dick slapping those like and subscribe buttons as hard as you can. Thank you again to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you to all of my patrons and subscribers who have helped my channel grow and thrive the way that it has been, and who have allowed me to start a whole ass other channel. And, of course, as always, until next time. No, I say the howdy ho part, not you.